Y'all, I had got my personal color analysis done almost a year ago, and it has been a complete game changer in terms of really just how well I show up for myself. I mean, I'm talking wardrobe, hair color, makeup. Like, I will not do any of that without the takeaways that I've learned when I got my personal color analysis done. And I will share more about my experience. But before I get into that, I do want to share with those who aren't familiar with this concept a little bit about what it is and then how I became first hip to the experience. I'll dive into what my experience is. But before I get into all of that, for those of you who are like really into the whole concept of personal color analysis, I want you to take a look at me and make your best guess of what color season you think I am. I mean, I'm pretty much wearing everything that is that aligns with my color season. I'm wearing gray. I know that seems like it's not as helpful, but it at least gives you kind of like a jump start of what I might be. I'm wearing red lipstick. Actually, my entire makeup look is considered like the prime everyday makeup look for my particular color season. And just to kind of drop a hint, my color season is able to wear quite a bit of makeup without it appearing overwhelming on their face. And the reason being is because we have high contrast features in terms of our like natural coloring and etc. So if you were to put me in a black and white photo, there's going to be a stark contrast between my hair color, which is like this nice natural dark brown, and my skin complexion. Compare me in a black and white photo with like Beyonce, who has features opposite of mine. I will just throw out there, like, she's a lot more warm toned than my color season is considered. But if you look at her natural skin tone and her like that golden hair color that she is known for, you put that in black and white, that kind of like seamlessly blend into one another. And for someone who might be of her particular color season, more natural looks will be like the most flattering. Whereas in my case, like contrasty makeup like bold lipstick, black eyeliner is going to be considered like the prime everyday look for us, just because we need a little bit more. So let me just go ahead and like share with you guys like why I absolutely love this concept and why I think it's a game changer. So first and foremost, how I first came across it, I think it was like fall 2022. And I remember being on Amazon and coming across this book called Color Me Beautiful. This book was like published or released in around the 80s, but it was all about your personal style, dressing for your natural features, wearing colors that best highlight you, even clothing that best highlight your particular body shape and figures. It was a great book. Like for me, I love books that are from the 80s and like in the past, like even earlier than that, just because like if you look at like makeup books and style books from that era, they are very like, there's no gatekeeping, right? Like these makeup artists and these experts they're sharing like the whole science about looking your best. Like they are very detailed, very specific, and they explain their why you're gonna put what like highlighter here or a contour shade there, so to speak, or why you would do this for this particular eye shape and not for this particular eye shape, and etc. Like I love books from this era. I grabbed the book and I learned a lot about myself in that book. Actually, yeah, more about what I was about to share going on. But I made my best guess on what I thought I was, considering like what that book spoke about. And when I got my personal color analysis done in person, I ended up being right. But the thing is, this book, Color Me Beautiful, only covers the 4 color seasons, which would be like fall, autumn, winter, and spring. So it follows our natural seasons in Earth. And it's kind of divided between like whether or not you are cool or whether or not you are more warm on the spectrum. Fast forward to today, which is like 2024, the color seasons have evolved to become a lot more detailed. So it goes from like it went from 4 to 12 defined color seasons. And so within in every particular season, like for instance, if you are in autumn, right? there's like true autumn, there is bright autumn, and there is dark autumn. And there's varying terms that they use to explain like where you might be on the spectrum in any given color season. But the whole concept is like, let's just say like you may fall into a particular color season, right? But it gets more detailed from there. Huge example is I am on the dark end of the spectrum of my color season. It has nothing to do with complexion, by the way. And I have a friend who's of the same color season, but I think she's either clear or bright, or true and bright. And again, as I explained, with my particular color season, I can wear like high contrasty makeup, whereas in hers, she needs to wear more natural light type of makeup. We have colors that are very similar to each other in terms of our personal color palettes, but there are some color differences that may be included in hers that aren't included in mine, and vice versa. So it's very interesting how deep this concept can get. And just to kind of touch base on what this whole concept of color analysis is, if you guessed, is it similar to color theory? It absolutely is. It pretty much piggybacks off of this concept. So in hindsight, personal color analysis is nothing new. This has been around for such a long time. When I try to research the history on it, some reports claim that this has been around since like, I think the 1800s. It's been started being widely used in the 50s through the 80s. And then I guess right now we are experiencing a resurgence in popularity in terms of how you can like utilize color analysis in your everyday. And just to kind of touch very briefly on the concept of color theory, right? Color theory is just look at your color wheel, right? And the concept pretty much like certain color combinations are like convey certain type of messaging and stories or tones to whatever you're trying to convey. And this is heavily used in film and photography. They refer to it as color grading. And this is also used in many other art forms. People are just naturally attracted to a certain set of combination of colors. It has always been proven that way. And this has been a concept discovered like way back in the day. And so it's pretty much just tried and true. If you think about it, we utilize this in makeup, right? So if you think about, if you're really into makeup, if you happen to be an artist, you know that like if you're a particular complexion or have particular undertones in your skin, right? Like if you look at the makeup color wheel, you are going to use a color opposite of what your undertones are to cancel out imperfections. So it's used in a variety of different ways, and it is also implemented into your like wardrobe and whatever. Pretty much if you know your color season, you know what you can do in terms of anything regarding your personal appearance. Like your same color season is going to apply with nail color. I use my personal color palette when selecting my nail color. During the last time I got my nail appointment, your makeup, your clothes, your hair, all of that. Basically, personal color analysis is really just wearing colors that highlight your natural features the best, that make you look radiant and just glow. Whereas in that same concept, right, if you wear colors that are opposite of your color season, it's going to do the opposite effect. It's going to make you look very dull and drabby. And to that point, right, when we were talking about this concept is used in film, it's also used in a personal styling of actors and actresses in film, right? Like if you're going to have like a character that is portrayed to be evil, sad, depressing, they're going to use like particular colors that are going to dull out that character and really like play into that whole appeal. If it's a main character who's supposed to be happy and positive and radiant in the It Girl, they're gonna have like dress that particular actor and actresses in colors that convey that. It's used in marketing, right? Like yellow in our society means happiness, red, urgency, danger, black, luxury, white, purity, innocence, etc. So it's used in a variety of aspects. And let's go ahead and just jump into how my personal analysis color experience went. So again, I was first exposed to the whole idea or concept back in fall 2022. I was so intrigued by it that I wanted to get my personal color analysis done in person professionally. I found a lady who is located in Dallas. Her name is Colorpolitan. She is TCI certified, which is True Color International certified. And basically under that umbrella, under that certification, she had learned everything there is to know about the science of color. So you can give her a whole palette of reds and she can just easily sort them out with her eyes closed on what are cool reds, true reds, and warm reds. Whereas like the majority of us, especially those who may not be as artistically or creatively inclined, may not be able, we're not as trained to decipher colors in that same way, right? So she knows what she's talking about. I did ask her during the time of our appointment if it's something that I can document and record. She said because TCI, like that whole process is very copyrighted, that I could not. And even if, like even me, like I follow her on Instagram, right? Like she don't even reveal the process, like her own back end process just because she's unable to. She always presents the results. But I will kind of explain roughly about what that looked like. I mean, it pretty much looked like as you would have probably already seen on any video or such on TV. But what you might not know, or at least in her background and her process, is that for one, right, you cannot get your personal color analysis done virtually at all. Like if someone's telling you that that can be done, that's a huge red flag, or at least that's what she told me, just because like there's a lot of factors that can alter getting your true accurate color results. One being like how the light you are portrayed in is, how not only is your device calibrated, how their device is calibrated, along with a lot of varying things that can like throw off the accuracy of your results. Another thing too, when going into my in-person color analysis, I was instructed to come without any makeup. And I don't have hair color in my hair, but if I did, I would wear a band just like I am now to conceal the hair and to prevent it from not throwing off the results at all. Another thing is too, she explained to me, walked me through her process, but she was explaining to me like her light setting is set at a specific color temperature that is not daylight, that is not incandescent, etc., etc. It is like very neutral so that she is able to truly provide the most accurate analysis on my color. Like, of course, if you, for example, like if you work with photography or film at all, you may be very aware of color temperature, right? Like on one end of the spectrum is very much bringing out a lot of the warmth in the image, and another end of the spectrum is really piggybacking going off of all of the coolness. So when you're setting your lights, it's very much done in the same way. So know all of that. That was like the baseline for the color analysis. So she sits me down in front of the mirror, in front of the light setting, and she had different draping sets. I can't really remember exactly how they were like organized, but I believe they were organized by color, right? She tried on a set of reds and burgundies on me, and a set of blues, and a set of whites, and a set of blacks, and etc. on me. And we went from draping to kind of analyze like what it does for my overall skin. Some colors made me look very radiant, beautiful. Some colors brought a lot of coolness in my skin, or a lot of warmth in my skin. Some were okay, some were better. But what was the most mind-blowing part about the entire experience is like when she started getting into like the whites and the blacks. And so I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, like that is a color that is considered neutral for everybody. But the truth of the matter is that is not true. So again, another hint with my color season, pure black is only flattering for one particular color season. pure white is only flattering for one particular color season, and that color season happens to be me. And every other color season, they can do like soft variations of white. Some color seasons might look better with like a soft, warm white, while others might look better in a soft, cool white. And then kind of the same with the blacks. So for me, because pure blacks and pure whites pretty much work for me, and because of what my particular color season is, I have olive undertones in my skin. So I'm actually on the cusp of, okay, so I'm just going to give you a hint. My color season is on the cool end of the spectrum, and I am on the cusp of another color season that is warm. So within the color palettes that I can use, there are mostly cool tone colors. So let me back it up. So I'm considered neutral, right? I'm considered neutral in skin tone and undertone because of, well, I'm olive undertone. That's considered a neutral undertone for one. And just where I am on the spectrum of my color season, I'm considered neutral. So while I'm like mostly cool, there are a handful of warm colors that I can do. But a color I cannot do at all is orange. Not at all. Cannot do it, should not do it, will not do it. And just kind of thinking back on the past before I even was like well versed on color season, I remember I would always wear gray, blacks, and whites. Always. I would always wear red lipstick. Like, this has always been my traditional makeup look, even before knowing my color season. And I would always wear a red with the blue undertone, so a cool red or a true red. I tried an orange red before because it looked amazing on somebody else. It looked horrible on me. Looked like a complete clown. And so fast forward till today, when I now know what my color season is, what my particular color palettes are, and what colors I need to steer away from, I am now aware why that didn't work for me. And I am now aware of like why back in the day I would like wear a color that I visually really, really liked, but I put it on myself and it just wasn't it for me. I now know why I always resorted to just wearing like grays, whites, and blacks, because they were my safe colors. They were the colors that I knew looked good on me. Well, they're all colors on my color season. And then I now understand why I just had good days and bad days in terms of my overall appearance. Well, it's because I probably wasn't wearing something that agreed with my color season. So it just like takes away the guessing, the unsurety, not the unsurety, that's not a word, the uncertainty, and just helps me take the guesswork out of looking my best. Now, with that being said, like, you don't have to follow color season. Personally, I will. Personally, I love that. I've seen people who go against the grain of their color season and they like cool. And I think the big reason about it is because of their personality. Like, their personality is they're conducive towards going against the grain, right? They might actually have a natural rebellious, edgy type of aesthetic anyways. And so going against the grain just works for them because it's very fitting with their personality. You know what I mean? If you're someone who has a highly visible career where you're maybe like in front of the camera, where you are meeting with people, where you're doing a lot of public speaking and or etc., like, this is something that you might really want to follow because it's going to help you come forth as your best self. It's going to have people perceive you a lot more positively, in a positive light, and etc. Off, I do want to kind of talk about a recent controversy. So, okay, lately Beyonce has been sporting a brand new look, like something different than what she typically does. But a lot of people have not been feeling it. I remember like initially a lot of people just felt like she appeared to be very whitewashed, like she was trying to appear more Eurocentric, like her skin was bleached. But because I was very aware of how color season works, I was able to I don't know why I'm saying it like that. But anyways, I was able to quickly identify that it has nothing to do with how her image was edited, which it could have. But it had nothing to do with how her image was edited. It has nothing to do with her out here and possibly bleaching her skin. It had everything to do with her particular color season. Now, If I had to make my guess, I think that Beyonce is actually in autumn, which is a very warm color season. If you think about autumn, you think about all like the rustic shades and such that is like prevalent in nature and whatever, right? Like that's her. Like she's always looked great in gold and blonde hair. She's always looked great in gold. Like that has been her go-to look for so long because it worked. Now she's wearing silver and platinum blonde hair, and those are all very cool colors and tones. So when you're wearing colors that do not support your natural features, it's going to make you look like blown out, and it's going to make you look washed out, which is the case with Beyonce. Now, some people may love it because it's like, okay, this is something like she's given us something different and refreshing, and we love it. You know what I mean? But like a lot of people were taken back about that. And this is why she looks very different. So another example, using myself, I encountered, well, long story short, I was trying to get some updated headshots of myself done. I wore a particular outfit that didn't exactly agree with me. I thought the color was relatively neutral and wouldn't make much of an impact. But I remember getting in front of the camera and I was like, when I looked at my photos, I'm like, why do I look so blown out? Why is my skin tones in this image not true to color? Long story, like just a quick backstory, I do photography on the side, and the way that I shoot is I always make sure that people's skin tones are accurately portrayed. So I know how to nail that in camera. But it wasn't giving, like it was not giving an outcome in my images. And I realized what I was wearing could have been the reason why. So I put that outfit right back on, looked in the mirror, and I was like, this is exactly why I looked very washed out. Because like the way the color was just reflecting onto my skin and just kind of creating this like huge ghastly glow across my face. And so I have to redo these headshots, but this time I am wearing colors that are definitely conducive to my color season. Guys, so I'm jumping right back in. Something that I forgot to explain to put the whole concept of color season into perspective is that if you think about winter, right, there's a lot of cool tones that are just very much prevalent during winter seasons. You think about the pure white snow and the dark rich blue intense skies and all the things that are cool toned and very reminiscent of winter. If you think about autumn, you think about like the rustic tones that are very present in nature during that time. And if you just think about it, like color harmonies are kind of naturally evolving in nature in general. Like if you go to the tropics, there are colors that are native to tropical areas that you will typically find that all mesh and marry well with each other. If you go to like a Rocky Mountain, you're going to see these like rustic colors and tones that I think it's Rocky Mountains, but you're going to see a particular set of tones that are very native to like either red mountains or like your traditional Colorado type mountains where there's like snow on the mountains and etc. Like there are just like naturally occurring color harmonies in nature that just mesh and flow well together. So you can think of it as color being, or like color theory is by God's design. You can think of it as a scientific thing. You can think of it as both, but there is a lot of valid proof and very varying array of mediums of how impactful color is. So anyways, you guys, I hope you guys found that helpful. If you've guessed my color season, did you guess dark winter? Because if you did, you are right. This is also known as deep winter. Like there's terms that are interchangeable. If you've gotten your personal color analysis, you have to let me know. Did you do it in person? Did you do it virtually? Did you figure it out yourself? I would love to know. I would love to know if you've been implementing it ever since. I walked away with a personal color palette after mine, and I use it and take it everywhere. Like I do not shop without it. I will leave the information for my color analysis person if you are in the Dallas area. I think she's amazing. She's great. But do note, I booked a appointment with her in fall 2022, but it was for April of 2023 because she's just that booked and popular. I think I paid around $300 or $200 in total in my appointment. I thought that was worth the investment. But of course, that's for you to determine for yourself. And I think I've said all that I wanted to say in this video. But if you have any questions or if you would love to know more or other really cool, helpful resources, let me know. I just, anytime I come across something that's been completely game-changing, I just can't help but to share. But anyways, you guys, until next time, bye.